Hey, what's up, everybody? It's AlbyMTG, and I just got back from my local game store's game day. It's currently August 13th, 2016, so we just had the Eldritch Moon game day, and I managed to walk away with the champion playmat. I ended up going 3-1. There was 12 players at my local game store. Four of us finished with 3-1, and then my breakers just happened to be the best because I went 2-0. I won 2-0. In all of my matches, and then the one match I lost was 2-1, so I managed to walk home with the game day playmat, which feels amazing. And so I thought I would share the deck tech with you guys. I was going to share the deck tech even if I lost game day, just because I think this is a great deck that people should really look into playing, but managing to walk away with the game day playmat just solidifies the fact that it truly is a good deck. I played it yesterday at F&M, and there was, I believe, 8 of us, and I managed to take third, also going 3-1. So tonight there was, or not tonight, this afternoon there was 12 of us at my local game store for game day, and I played Black White Angels. The other 3-1 decks we'll talk about in a later video. I'll probably go over them tomorrow and just kind of talk about my matchup against those decks and things like that. But you guys are here for the deck tech. You guys want to see what cards I ran in the deck. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So first off, we kind of have just like a removal package over here. We're running 4 copies of Grasp of Darkness, 4 copies of Ruinous Path, 3 copies of Languish, 2 copies of Murder. These are just great kill spells, probably the best kill spells in the format. The way the Angels deck kind of works is we just kind of stall and kill things in the early game, and then late game we just kind of take over. Sort of like the regular black-white control deck works, except our deck wins more with creatures than it does with planeswalkers. So yeah, just Grasp of Darkness, Languish, Murder, Ruinous Path kills pretty much anything in the format. Things like Sylvan Advocate, if they manage to have all the lands, you can't necessarily Grasp of Darkness it. We run the 2 copies of Murder, we run the Ruinous Path, so we can take care of it that way. And then Grasp of Darkness, Languish pretty much just takes care of, all sorts of other, threats that our opponents might be playing. Things like Owen Turnwald's Temur Emerge deck. We also can use Murder and Ruinous Path to get rid of Emrakul. Well, we can't use Murder, I apologize, but we can use the Ruinous Paths to get rid of Emrakul, and we can use the Murders for the Elder Deep Fiends in that deck. So we can pretty much kill pretty much everything in the format, at least everything that we're going to be worrying about that sees play. So yeah, and then for the things, some other like instant and sorceries that we are running in this deck, I have 2 copies of Transgress The Mind, just a little bit of hand destruction. The format seems a little bit slower. There's not necessarily the aggressive decks that you would expect to see, so we're running 2 Transgress the Mind to kind of take care of those. We have 1 copy of Blessed Alliance. The Gain of Life actually is more relevant than you would expect, and then also just being able to, have them sack, their Emrakul if they're attacking with Emrakul, have them sack Ormondal if they manage to flip a Westvale Abbey. It's really good. Anguished Unmaking takes care of absolutely everything in the format. There's an enchantment you want to get rid of, Planeswalker you want to get rid of, whatever. Anguished Unmaking will do it. And then 3 copies of Read the Bones just to kind of, search through our deck a little bit, get to the cards that we actually want to, be playing in specific matchups and things like that. Find more lands if we're a little bit low on land. Yeah, it's just an absolute great card. After that, we have the Planeswalkers in the deck. I know I said my deck wins more on creatures than it does Planeswalkers, but we are running 5 Planeswalkers here. I have 2 copies of Liliana The Last Hope, 1 copy of Ob Nixilis Reignited, 1 copy of Gideon, and then 1 copy of Sorin. Before yesterday, I was playing without Sorin. I felt that I already have 1 6-drop creature and 1 7-drop creature, so I felt like having another 6-drop might be a little bit shaky, but we managed to do it with Sorin. I added him in yesterday. I traded for him, and I think he's pretty good. He's a great addition to it, and I would definitely run him again. I think, I would say he's probably the best Planeswalker here. Liliana does great things. I managed to make 2 Liliana emblems today during game day, so that was great as well. But when you drop the Sorin, they have to answer it right away, and even if you're behind, he just gains you at least 5 or 6 life right back. So it's a really good card. Sorin's fantastic, and those are pretty much all of our Planeswalkers. Gideon sometimes gets in there for 5 damage if They have no blockers back. Other than that, he's making 2/2 chump blockers. Ob Nixilis just kills things and draws cards. Exactly what this deck wants to do. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the angels and just in general creatures we're running here. The deck is called Black-White Angels, so every creature in the deck except for 2 is an angel. So the 2 that we're running that aren't angels are Thalia's Lancers. Thalia's Lancers is just a nice body, 4/4 first strike for 5s, perfectly fine in this format. Dies to Grasp of Darkness, but I mean, if they don't have the Grasp of Darkness, first strike is kind of important in this format, at least of what I saw today in the matches that I played. So when they come into play, they also find us a legendary card, which leads us to our 7 other legendary cards, our 7 other creatures. So first we're going to start with 3 Archangel Avacyn. Avacyn is just a great card. If we can get her to flip, she does great things. Even if we don't get her to flip, she's still, a great card. Gets in there for 4 damage, flashes in, gives the team indestructible if we have other creatures out on the battlefield at that time. After that, we are running 2 copies of Gisela. This card gets so much hate because of it only having 3 toughness, but honestly, the card is just good. It's great. Of what I've done, of me playing her, like, she's perfectly fine. She does die to removal, which is fine, but pretty much all the things that kill her also kill Avacyn, and other than maybe Incendiary Flow or Fiery Temper. But even if that's the case, you're still perfectly fine, because even if Gisela does go to the graveyard, we are running 1 copy of Bruna the Fading Light. Bruna will come in and then get us back one of our angels from the graveyard, or one of our humans as well if we want to get Thalia's Lancers, which is actually pretty good. You can play Bruna, get back the Thalia's Lancers. Thalia's Lancers enters the battlefield, and then you can search your deck for the Gisela, and then play the Gisela next turn, and then turn them into Birzella. And then we have 1 final creature in the deck, which is Linvala The Preserver. She's really, really good if you're behind. And even if you're not behind, she's just a 5/5 flyer, which is perfectly fine. Other than that, all we have is some lands in the deck. We are running 3 Forsaken Sanctuary, 4 Caves of Koilos, and 4 Shambling Vent. Just good dual lands. You want to make sure that you have your colors on the turns that you need them. So, just great lands, should definitely be ran in this deck. After that, we have sort of, I guess they would be called utility lands, but they overperform so much compared to what you think they would do, and that is the Geier Sanitarium. Geier Sanitarium is a legendary land, so you can go ahead and search for it with your Thalia's Lancers if you need one more land drop to, maybe play Bruna or something like that. You can search for that, and then other than that, it just draws you cards. You can filter through your deck, find the cards that are good in the matchup, and filter out the ones that are, not as good, if it was game 1. After that, we have good old Blighted Fen, the Emrakul Killer, as everyone knows it. Target opponent sacrifices a creature for 4 and a black, and then sacrificing the Blighted Fen. It's probably the best way to kill Emrakul in the format right now. I could be wrong, but it just seems like the best way to be able to handle Emrakul right now, especially because of it saying target opponent, meaning your opponent, when they take control of your turn with Emrakul, they can't just Blighted Fen one of your own creatures. They have to target an opponent, which would be themselves. So usually it ends up killing Emrakul. If they have something else, I don't know, Emrakul decks usually run Ishkana, so maybe you're killing Ishkana as well, or instead of Emrakul, which is still fine, killing the Ishkana. Overall, I like to hold the Blighted Fen until Emrakul comes out, unless I actually need the mana from Blighted Fen. I like to just hold it, and then use it as more of a kill spell. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is just basic lands. There's 8 swamps, 5 plains. And then I'm not really going to go into the sideboard, because I feel like the sideboard totally depends on the meta at your local game store. If there's people running enchantment decks, you should probably throw in some Fellow Dark Hubs or some other form of enchantment hate. If people are running green-white tokens, Tragic Arrogance is a great card to bring in. And yeah, Hallowed Moonlight is a great card to bring in against Bant Company, as well as the mono blue Prism deck, which that deck is just ridiculous. I love that deck so much. My friend at my local game store plays it, and it's just such a good idea for a deck. Just putting together all these random cards that you think would normally do nothing, and then when you put them all together, it's like, whoa, this deck is crazy. But yeah, this is pretty much the the deck. This managed to win game day at my local game store, and hopefully if you guys build a deck similar to this, it will lead you to victories at your FNMs in the near future. If you guys enjoyed the deck, would like to see more decks such as this one, be sure to click the subscribe button. I'm going to be uploading all the time, not necessarily all the time, but you guys know what I mean, just pretty much whenever I get a chance. So yeah, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.